the same job. He's here with the Business Bulletin. Still here. Can't get rid of him. Still some changes at the top of the British luxury group Burberry. They've got rid of someone, have they?
That's right. We're still here, but we can't say that for Burberry. There's things afoot there. Now, the chief executive of Burberry has been Angela Ahrendts. She's an American and she's been in charge of the British luxury group for over 10 years. She joined, in fact, in 2001 and has steered it to success. But now this man will take over as the chief executive. This is Christopher Bailey. He is the design director of the company, and he'll be adding to his creative powers as well the running of the company. Now, that's had quite a reaction in the stock market this morning in London, where the shares trade, because it was quite a surprise. And they've been seen as such a successful duo running this business that it's actually seen shares fall by 6% over just the last 20 minutes or so. Well, this otherwise, though, is how shares are opening in Europe. They're all up, as you can see, and the reason for that is our friend, the debt ceiling, and the fact that Republicans and Democrats seem to be edging towards some kind of deal there. We'll see if that sentiment stays in place as talks continue. Meanwhile, Asia also seemed to have a pretty good day. For the most part, they were picking up on optimism from the US markets, all up, as you can see there. Only in China, the Shanghai Composite, that fell back. It had a better day yesterday, in fact, but that was down, the Chinese market, by about 0.2%.
Now, we've been talking a lot over the last couple of days about François Hollande, the French president. He's off in South Africa at the moment. Another charm offensive you got for us. This is China by the British finance minister.
That's right. George Osborne, the finance minister, is in China for a 5-day trip, and he's there, well, partly to repair some diplomatic relations that were rather strained after the British Prime Minister David Cameron met the Dalai Lama last year. He's now there, putting that behind him, talking a lot about trade and business. There are announcements yesterday about easing visa regulations. We've been hearing today about plans to ease the way that Chinese banks can operate in London, because George Osborne's very keen to encourage them to move to London, to make London some kind of offshore financial centre for Chinese banks. So he's been there hosting an economic summit with the Vice Premier, in fact, of China today.
OK, well, let's talk about South Africa that I mentioned just a moment ago. The French president, he's had some good news on the first day of his visit there. That's
right. He's had some good news in terms of business deals that have been done. One big issue in South Africa is in the power industry, where electricity supplies have been a problem. Well, the power group GDF Suez has announced a deal, €1.5 billion, that it's going to build a thermal power plant and a solar plant as well. They're not the only ones. Alstom is the maker of trains from here in France. They have also done a pretty big deal to build around 600 trains for the rail network there in South Africa. Taken together, these deals worth just over $5.5 billion, billion euros rather. And shares, in fact, in Alstom up around 2% on the stock market this Tuesday.
OK, now, if you're watching a little bit earlier on, I got my wallet out and found €5. That was it. Not really enough for this next story, because buying a property here in Paris is expensive enough. But how much would it cost to buy up the whole city? Well, it's the objective of one study, and they've come up with an eye-popping figure. Catherine Clifford has this report.
Can you put a price on the city of love? According to a historian and a specialist in the capital's real estate, if Paris were for sale, the going price would be a whopping €706 billion. To arrive at this sum, they identified some 1,300,000 homes and offices that make up Paris. They added up their values district by district, depending on the size of the property and the price per square metre. The pair chose to exclude historical monuments from their calculations. But for curiosity's sake, they did put a price on around 30, with estimates for the buildings only and not the contents. The Louvre was given a worth of €7.5 billion, the Eiffel Tower €2.8 and the Élysée Palace €1.2 billion. Figures to be taken with a pinch of salt, however. Other researchers have tried to slap price tags on tourist spots in the City of Lights, and the Eiffel Tower has already been estimated at more than €400 billion.
Very nice. Not really worth buying it without the nice Eiffel Tower.
No, it's not, is it?
Well, let's get some of the company news from today now. And shareholders in the struggling Italian airline Alitalia have approved a capital increase of up to €300 million. Shareholders will now have 30 days to decide whether or not to subscribe to that call for cash. Alitalia has been looking for more financing options as it struggles to keep operations going.
No more Avon crawling here in France. The cosmetic giant shutting down its French operations. The company employs, in fact, 120 staff, supporting 11,000 door-to-door sales representatives. Avon has been struggling as it goes through a number of management changes.
And Italy's Moncler, known for its puffy winter jackets, is looking to list its shares in Milan. The flotation could give the company a value of up to €3 billion. Moncler has around 100 stores globally and made sales of €489 million last year.
Going to need those. It's getting chilly here in Paris all of a sudden. Winter's on its way. Matthew, thanks a lot. Matthew, with business here on France 24. Over the other side of the desk now, it's time for the